Hello again. In this clip then we'll show you how to apply the early years free entitlement. Now then, the free entitlement has had different names over the years. It started off as grants, then it became funding, then it became NEG, then it was NEF, it was then EYFE, and it's now FEEE. So with the instant nursery manager you can choose, for example here look, if you click on this drop down here, you can decide whether to call it EFYE or FEEE. As you know, the funding has been further complicated by the fact that the government thinking billing the parents by the hour. For example, 3 hours entitlement. But most private day nurseries do not bill by the hour, they bill by the session, so this further complicates the process. So here we are, focused on Rachel Coles. Rachel's 3.5 years of age, so she will most likely be claiming the early years free entitlement. So let's just add some booking for this example. We say that Rachel attends a full day, 5 days a week. Just add a few more months here. You can see now we've added the bookings all the way up until March 18. You can go as far ahead as you like. Okay, you'll see here, look, average. This denotes that discharge fees are going to be averaged and stretched over the year, calculated on a weekly fee times 51 divided by 12, so that the fees are regular amounts each month. You can set the system, you can have some children whose fees are flagged as 51-week year, or you can have them as 52-week year, or 50-week year, or 49-week year. You can set it up yourself to do that if need be. But for this example, we calculated the fees for Rachel on a weekly fee times 51 divided by 12. So Rachel's fees are being calculated now as if there was no such thing as early years free entitlement. So let's just have a quick look at her invoice, shall we? So this will be Rachel's invoice, as if there was no such thing as early years entitlement. So here are the bookings daily with the daily fees, weekly fee times 51 divided by 12 to give a regular monthly amount to pay. But if we apply funding, for example, in the past it was quite straightforward. We used to charge the parents on the one hand and take the funding off on the other hand. In other words, the normal monthly fee less the funding, leaving a net figure to pay. You can still do that if you want to with the system by entering the amounts in this column here. But we've also given you an alternative way to apply your funding. For example, look, let's just focus on September. We'll modify the sessions. And we say that Rachel is entitled to 30 hours free entitlement a week. Okay, yeah. Now, if we leave it at 30, it does mean that we can only take that off, the fees, for the 38 weeks of the funding year. So the parents will get enormous bills in July and August and times like that outside of the normal 38-week funding period. So if you're going to stretch the fees, why not stretch the funding? So for example, 30 hours a week times 38 weeks a year, if we divide that by 51, it should give us 22 hours per week. Okay, so 5, 10, 15, 20, 22 hours per week to claim, stretched over the year. You'll see also that the system has calculated your hourly rate for you, based on those days where the child is claiming the funding. We've also given you boxes here because we've been asked for this by lots of nurseries so that you can add an additional daily service charge. So for example, £2. So now we are saying that Rachel is claiming 22 hours a week, going to be stretched over the year, and we're also going to be charging an additional daily service charge. This will help those nurseries that, because we do realise that most nurseries are losing money, and this will help them recuperate some of those losses if indeed your council will allow you to do this. So apply the change and copy down. If we click back here now, look, on the Eyfe tab, we'll see, look, here's the 3 hours per week worked out for us, and this is our hourly rate here. Now then, if you're stretching the fees, so 30 hours a week, for 38 weeks of the year, divide that by 12, and it should equal 47.5 hours per month to deduct if you are going to stretch it. You can apply your hourly rate, you can put your own hourly rate in there if you want to, or use your own average hourly rate here. So you can see now that our fees have been adjusted now right up until March 2018. You can go further if you want to. With the normal fees, less 47.5 hours per month at £4.50, so the parents are getting those 3 hours. Let's just have a look at the invoice now, shall we? You can see quite clearly now, there's the normal fees with the weekly fee times 51 divided by 12. The system's picked up that the child is claiming 22 hours per week, or 47.5 hours a month stretched over the year. Hours attending 212.5, hours claiming 47.5, additional chargeable hours 165. It's also added back here the £42.50 for the additional service charge, giving you a total at the bottom with the funding deducted. Now then, we do know that most councils will not allow you to show this monetary amount. So we have given you a tick box here, look. Show the values or do not show the values. So let's just have a quick look at the invoice now, look, for September again. So once again, there's the bookings, but with no monetary amount. Fees per week, hours per week claiming, and hours per month being deducted. Okay. Hours attending 212.5, claiming 47.5, additional chargeable hours 165, with the additional service charge here. And this will be the net figure to pay, but with the monetary amounts here hidden. I'm sorry that I quoted wrong here. If the child was attending 30 hours a week stretched over the year, that would be 30 hours times the 38 weeks of the funding divided by 12 should give you 95 hours per month if indeed you are stretching the funding for a child claiming 30 hours a week. I had quoted 47.5 here as if the child was claiming 15 hours a week and you were stretching the funding over the year. I also should have pointed out too, look, here, the system has worked out your hourly rate based on those days where you're claiming the funding, okay. Now, your hourly rate in this example is £4.50 an hour, and if the council is only reimbursing you with, say, £3.90 an hour, it does mean you're losing 16p an hour for 6 hours on that day. So 6 times 60, in a sense, you should be quoting £3.60 here if indeed you intend to recover your shortfall on your free entitlement. So Rachel is attending all year round and her fees are being stretched by an averaged amount, and we've done the same for the funding. But you may have some children that just attend for the school year. So let's just find a child here, shall we? So here we are, look, focused on Sammy Askey. He's 1 year 11 months at the moment, but he will be 2 years by September, so maybe claiming the early years free entitlement. You'll see also that Sammy is flagged as a school year child, so the system will calculate Sammy's fees based on the school year. So for example, in September there are 21 working days. October there are 17 school days because of the half-term closure. November there were 22 school days, and in December there are only 10 school days because the schools break up 2 weeks into December. Now at the moment Sammy's fees are being calculated based on the amount of days each month. Let's just have a look at the bookings here, shall we? So Sammy is attending 9 till 3, 5 days a week, so 6 hours a day, 30 hours for the week. Sammy's also claiming 6 hours a day here. So Sammy's fees would equate to 0. But you can here, once again, look at the additional service charge, add the additional service charge here, if indeed your council does allow it. And this will help you recoup some of the losses you are making on the early years free entitlement. Apply that and we'll copy down. Now then, because we can't stretch the fees for Sammy because he is only attending for the 38 weeks of the year. So for example, in September there are 21 working days, 6 hours a day, total of 126 hours for the month. In October there are 17 working days, times 6 is 102 hours for the month. November, 22 working days, times 6, 132 hours for the month. Now December, only 10 working days because the schools close 2 weeks into December. So there will be 60 hours to be claimed in that month. So let's just have a look at our invoice now, shall we, for September. Days attending, times 4 Mondays, 4 Tuesdays, 4 Wednesdays, 4 Thursdays and 5 Fridays in September. Hours claiming per week, 30. For this month, 126 hours have been deducted. So hours attending 126, hours claiming 126, and additional chargeable hours 0. But here is the additional service charge if indeed you are going to apply that. And once again, this is an invoice with the monetary amounts hidden. If you want to see the monetary amounts, let's have a look at the invoice now. Same thing again with the monetary amounts showing. But as we say, a lot of councils do not allow you to have these monetary amounts showing here. So we've seen an example now of a child attended all year whose fees are averaged, and we've also seen a sample of a child that attends just purely for the school year. So let's just find another child here, shall we? So here we are, look, focused on Oliver Benson. And Oliver, he is going to attend all year, but his fees are not stretched. He's only being charged for the number of days that appear in each calendar month. And Oliver is only attending 4 days a week here, look. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And we're saying that Oliver is only going to be claiming 15 hours per week. Okay, so we're taking 5 off this day, 5 off this day, and 5 off this day. We could, if we wanted to, take off 8 off there and 7 off there. It would equate to the same thing. We're also saying that on those funded days we are going to charge an additional service charge here. Look. Now Oliver's fees, as if there was no such thing as early years funding, would be charged in September for 16 working days, October 18 working days because it does attend all year round, November 18 working days, December 16 working days and January 19 working days. That would be his normal fees if there was no such thing as funding. But here now, because Oliver does attend all year, we could stretch his fees too if we wanted, or we could just take 60 hours off that month, 45 off that month, because it's a 3-week month in October, 60 again off in this month, etc. But then it would mean that the parents get very large bills for those months outside of the early years free entitlement. So once again, we could stretch Oliver's fees if need be, and if your council allows it. So let's just have a look at our invoice now, shall we? Oliver's been charged 4 Mondays, 4 Tuesdays, 4 Wednesdays and 4 Thursdays. The monetary amount showing at the moment. Claiming per week, 15. So 47.5 hours have been taken off per month, stretched over the year. Hours attending 160, hours claiming 47.5, chargeable hours 112.5. With this additional service charge added back here, this would be the monthly total for September. Same thing again, look, with the values hidden. Same thing again, but no monetary amount showing. But the net figure at the bottom is exactly the same, and the hours worked out is exactly the same. If, for example, Oliver was attending some days for different sessions, for example, the Thursday and the Friday, 9 till 3, where your hourly rate is higher, £5 an hour. This average hourly rate will not change because it is based on only those days where the child is claiming the free entitlement. So it is in your interest to apply the free hours claimed against those sessions where your hourly rate equates to the lowest. When the free hours are in place, you can always go here, for example, term, autumn, this year, and you choose over 3 or 2 to 3 year children, and that will show you a list with the totals of all the funding that is being claimed from your setting, with the grand total at the bottom. You can also at any time go to the top menu here and export. You'll see here a list of all the 2 and 3 year old children, showing their bookings, their hours attending per week, hours claiming per week, and number of hours claiming per term. Along with other information. You can either print the list or export the list, and at any time, look, you can filter purely on the 2 year children or click on the 3+ children. So thank you for watching this video clip.